NBS Live at 9.
Now, this is what I know about you Ugandans. You just don't like to queue up, whether it is in traffic on your way home or at parties where you are asked to line up for food. You never like to line up. Now, you're being asked to line up to pick up a piece of plastic that is extremely important. So we are going to hear from your experiences. And my colleagues are on standby. Sheila Tusime is very much at the Ministry of Internal Affairs. She will be speaking to the minister about that piece of plastic. Benson Ngom is very much in the north of the country. He's the bureau chief for Acholi sub-region. Myself, Kanara Mugume, and yes, Sibia, we are here. The headlines. The pain of registering or getting a national ID. Why has NIRA not made the exercise convenient?
This far we have come, and it's only the beginning.
It is long queues at NIRA offices as the mass issuance of national ID closes.
We are committed to making sure that you know and you have clarity.
UPC NRM cooperation agreement.
Time when we needed support for our UPC candidates, many of those who were clamoring against me were nowhere to be seen.
Akina says it has to be reviewed before they move ahead.
Some of what we have gone through does not augur well for what the future is supposed to be.
Why the fuss? Isn't it just normal that opposition politicians should meet the head of state? And the good news is,
now we are introducing the newborn screening services.
The Ministry of Health launches mandatory screening of newborns for sickle cell disease.
Rapid tests now have come on board, and that has eased our care.
This is NBS Live at 9 with Victoria Sibia, Samson Kasumba, and Kanari Mugume.
Of course, later on, babies will be screened for sickle cell disease. We are in the process of screening stories. Now, this is the news after the screening process. As the National Identification Registration Authority concludes the nationwide mass registration exercise at parish level, it is members of the public that are raising concern over congestion at the national ID collection centers countrywide. Applicants cite delays, limited service, functional.
In October 2025, NIRA started the issuance of new national IDs following a countrywide mass registration exercise. We visited several national ID collection centers and found long queues of applicants. At NIRA offices on Lumumba Avenue in Kampala, applicants lined up to collect new IDs and seek corrections, with many expressing frustrations over delays in service delivery. Juliet Nampija, a resident of Kamocha, says she registered in April last year, but her ID has not yet been released despite people who registered after her already receiving theirs. Beyond congestion, some applicants say they have moved from one center to another without success, claiming they are repeatedly redirected and exhausted by the process. We spoke to a resident in Kawempe.
naye ne bangamba nzijeko waneeno okutuuka wano ne bangamba ngende nansana wetwewandisiriza ID wetwandizisanze okusinga otutambuza buli kifo.
Kampala Central Mayor Salim Uhuru has called on NIRA to increase the number of national ID collection centers, particularly in Kampala, citing the city's high population.
Because one station is almost being choked. So let us open more centers and our fellow brothers and sisters can get the services closer to them and much more faster, because if you go in the morning, you might leave there around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
However, according to NIRA Registrar Claire Olama, each division in Kampala has a designated national ID collection center, while Wakiso has 3. She says there is no confusion, noting that applicants are required to follow the SMS notifications sent to their phones indicating where to collect their IDs.
Kampala as a district, the message is often coded with 12, which is simply a code number that defines the district. So 12 is not rocket science. 12 is the number that we have given Kampala.
On congestion, Olama says NERA cannot increase the number of collection centers but remains committed to serving the public at the designated locations, appealing to applicants to remain patient.
It's that you would very much want us to give you the service where you accessed it from, but a project has got constraints, and a government pass has got a limit and resources within which it works.
NERA has also announced that the mass registration exercise at parish level has officially ended, although its offices across the country remain operational. The authority says that out of a target of 15 million citizens, 14 million registered for new national IDs, representing about 90% coverage. So far, NERA has printed 10 million IDs. 7 million have been distributed to collection centers nationwide, while more than 2 million remain uncollected.
I spoke about long queues. Let's get to those. Long queues have been becoming a daily sight at the Tororo District NERA offices as residents from across the district flock in large numbers to access the National Identity Card service, saying life without the National ID has become nearly impossible given that access to essential government services is now increasingly and firmly dependent on that important piece of plastic.
This has been the situation at Tororo District NERA offices over the past few weeks, as residents from the 42 administrative units that make up the district continue to flock to the offices to access national identification services. The majority of those turning up are seeking ID renewals. Others are registering for the first time, while some are collecting their newly printed national identity cards. Due to the overwhelming numbers, many of these applicants are forced to spend hours waiting for services as the office operates on a first-come, first-served basis.
People have picked interest in their IDs. And here what we do, we follow first come, first serve, except if the person is falling among the special.
Your first attempt is to have a national ID. To get a SIM card, I must have a national identity card. I go and use it to register my SIM card in my own names.
Despite the high turnout, NERA officials say hundreds of printed national IDs remain uncollected at the district offices, urging residents to pick their cards, which are issued free of charge.
As we speak, we still have people's IDs that are yet to be collected, and we encourage them to come and collect them. How can they get to know that their IDs are here? The system sends the applicant a message on the number that they provided at the time of registration. So that message clearly indicates that your ID is ready, kindly pick it.
Meanwhile, as demand for national IDs rises, NERA officials warn that some individuals are taking advantage of the situation to defraud unsuspecting Ugandans. They have cautioned the public that all NERA services are free of charge and advised residents to seek services directly from official NERA offices.
Let me speak to a pair of my colleagues. That's Benson Ongom, Bureau Chief in Acholi Sub-Region, and as well Alex Mugasha, who is in Mbara. I'll begin with you, my brother Benson. Maybe I should be saying, Otieno Tero Wumabel. Give us a sense of what is happening out there. Ben?
Well, Samson, from what we've been able to see in the Acholi sub-region, but also a greater part of northern Uganda, is so different from what the story has just been told from Tororo, the long queues. But what we've been able to witness for the past 2 months, even pre-Christmas or before Christmas, is the long queue. But if you go to the NERA offices, even by yesterday, you will get one serving point. We've been made to understand that a couple of days ago, NERA had said there are going to be different stations of registration, especially for those who want to renew, but as well for those who want to register their children and themselves, those who didn't have ID. So what we've been able to see, the NERA offices, which is situated in senior quarters, fully with people, and the queues are really long. Some of the people that we were able to speak to even last week, even as yesterday, on Friday as well, some of them say they've been coming into NERA offices most times from morning, and then they're sometimes hop until 4 and the registration is not complete. Now, I had to speak to one of the staffs of NERA in Gulu as well. He says the number of people that are coming into either register for the national ID or renew is overwhelming the numbers of people that have been registered to help people. We understand there are many places that were placed to help people, but again, in terms of finances, we've been told those places they got a directive from Kampala to close those places so that there's only one place that is left for people to go. So I can tell you, Samson, the queue is still there. Today it has been overwhelming. I passed to around the NERA offices not more than once, and you could really tell the long queues, and people really want to get the national ID as well, but also being able to get information on the people that have been able to renew, but also register for the national ID. Not quite very many people have been able to get it, including myself. I did register for renewal of national ID. The lot that register with, some of them have come, some of them have not come. People are really anxious, waiting to see if they'll be able to get their IDs. And the mode of communication as well, I've been told people now have to walk to NERA offices to check if their national IDs are back or not. Again, there have been the issue of sending message into people's phones and people's lines as well, but this has not been the case for most of the people as well. People are going into NERA offices to check on their names physically if the IDs are in check. But I can confirm to you the queues are there, and seemingly it seems growing. The bigger conversation that has been taking place, why don't you widen the places? Why don't we have 2 divisions in Gulu? Why don't you have another place that people can go and do check their IDs, but also do this renewal or registration of the national ID? So that is what we see on ground, Samson, in Gulu and the greater part of Acholi sub-region as well.
Ben Afoyo. Alex, let me come to you. Are the Ugandans in Mbarara happy with the NERA service? Are they happy, or are they also mourning and whining?
Thank you very much, Samson. Good evening to you, and good evening to you watching us. Who has picked their ID? Congratulations. But at least one thing I can confirm is that several people have already picked their national IDs. For those who did their renewal, including myself, when we were renewing, after we would receive a message immediately, and even when the IDs were ready for pickup, we received messages, including myself. And those I have had a conversation with tell me that those who received messages would do in the first week go and be told that they should come back in at least in a week time, and then that is when they would find it very ready. And that is the same that is happening to several other people. But at least one thing I can confirm is that at the NERA office in Barahia, about 360 to 400 people pick their national IDs in a day. Now that explains the queues that we see on these offices, because in my conversation with the NERA head here in Mbarara, Mr. Chamrejita Daniel told me that in a day, about 360 to about 400 people pick their national IDs, but also confirmed to me that the renewal project at sub-county closed yesterday. For those who were waiting to go to the sub-counties to do renewal, at least they have confirmed to me that by yesterday, that project closed and it was returned to the main offices at different regional or district offices of the National Identification Registration Authority, or NERA. And also we have confirmed that those who are picking their national IDs, because we have been having challenges and some have been pointing out issues of their barcodes behind the national IDs, of not being able to respond when they take them to the replacement for SIM cards and other things. And NERA has confirmed to me that yes, the third-party update is being worked on. It is being worked on in phases, and that is why some telecom companies have not yet been updated in the system, as well as those who are going for driving license. Several other companies are just being updated. So for those who their national IDs are not responding when they go for such services, the issue is not with the IDs, but with the telecom companies and other companies that are third parties for this very service. So at least for now, what we know is that national IDs, people are continuing to go and pick them, but also we have also confirmed that for those who are picking their national IDs are supposed to come with their old IDs that expired. And in case you don't have it, or maybe it got lost, then you have to present yourself, and then maybe they check in the system, and when they confirm the NIN number, then that is when they can work on you. But at least one thing I can confirm, the queue going on, so those who want to can still go to these offices and get these services. That is basically what is happening here. Samson, permit me get back to you at the Political Command Center. Good evening.
The cheeky side of me wants to ask Benson Ongom to say Chamrijita Emmanuel, but I will not go there. Thank you very much, Benson Ongom. He is beaming. He knows exactly what I was planning to do. Now, the National Identification Registration Authority has acknowledged that the National Identification Card's QR code is non-functional as of today, confirming that it will be operational in about a month's time or thereabout. NIRA states that it has had direct communication to over 138 legal entities which need utilization of the verification codes.
Complaints and frustrations over the newly issued national identification cards have emerged ever since the start of the issuance of the technologically enhanced national IDs, with many facing challenges of failed recognition by systems. Several Ugandans took their concerns to social platforms like X, asking why the national identification cards are not reflective whenever subjected to checks via the readable QR code. Registrar for the National Identification Registration Authority, Claire Olama, has conceded that the new national IDs QR codes have not yet been activated, confirming the reports of many citizens' struggles to access services that require ID readable codes.
QR codes are currently not readable because they require a platform, a system module that makes it possible for you to read them.
She stated the system has been updated in phases. While the system has not yet been operationalized, it's not cast in stone, as the authority states that they'll be making them active after fully updating the system.
It is not a new thing. NIRA had a readability module that reads the old cards, but we have migrated to a new system. And so the development of this particular module is in the last phases and will go live. Going live means that all our 103 people that can read the old card will then be able to read the barcode of the new card. That will go live on 31st of March 2026.
Claire Olama states in an interview that upon completion, the readable code will be activated, indicating all entities that need its function have been reached out to and guided on how to operate. She explained that there is an offered verification method between legal entities and NIRA to aid authenticity of identity.
NIRA has created a platform and a mechanism which we have written about in detail to these different stakeholders that they can use in the now until we reach the 31st day to reach out to NIRA, verify authenticity of those cards and subsequently offer service.
Now, a national ID, that piece of plastic, is crucial for accessing essential government services in Uganda. But unfortunately, many of you Ugandans don't give a hoot about the whole idea of acquiring a national ID, while others have been frustrated by, as you've heard in our stories, by the whole process of queuing up to pick them, at NIRA places. But now, let's just go to why you actually need to be patient and put in the time to get the national IDs. Here is why. Now, you will need a national ID to access medical services in Uganda, as well for your insurance and to get treatment, especially in healthcare. That's within the healthcare docket. Medical services, your healthcare insurance, and treatment. Then financial inclusion. If you're going to be opening a bank account, I guess I don't need to explain to you why you need a bank account. If you're going to be applying for loans, if you're going to be doing mobile money transactions, you will need a national ID. So put in the time. Then let's go to the whole idea of acquiring land. You're a Ugandan somewhere in Qatar watching on Afro Mobile. And proof of ownership as far as land is concerned, no transaction if you don't have a national ID. And that's not just about all. Then we get to voting rights. We've just been there. You will need to get yourself registered to be either a candidate or a voter exercising your democratic right. You need a national ID. So put in the time and have your national ID because you definitely need it. Then accessing government services, accessing government documents, driving permit, licenses. You want to do business with NIRA, with URA. They'll ask for the national ID. So invest time and get your national ID. It might take a bit of time, but it is worth it. Otherwise, how are you going to do all these things? Then identity verification. It is a secure way to prove your identity in official and data transaction. As well, if you want to go to Rwanda, you want to go to Kenya, you want to go to Tanzania, around the East African community, you don't need a passport. All you need is your national ID. If you want to travel, get that national ID. So it makes a lot of sense to get your national ID. Now, let me turn to our very senior defense and security reporter and senior anchor, Sheila Tusime, who is sat with the Minister for Internal Affairs. Sheila, there's a bit of mourning and whining around the country, as you heard. Citizens are saying, maybe they're waiting too long, maybe not. Maybe can the centers be improved? You are sitting with the minister. Are these questions going to be answered?
Thank you very much, Samson Kasumba. I am sitting with the State Minister for Internal Affairs, General David Muhoozi, to answer all those questions. A lot has been said. We have seen and watched the stories. Thank you very much, Minister, for speaking to us. And we would like to know, what is the state of the national IDs, generally, from where you sit?
Good evening. Yeah, thank you for that question. We are now in the 7th month running since the exercise began in May 2025. And I want to say that a lot of good ground has been covered, in spite of some constraints here and there in the course of the exercise. Statistically, we've received a lot of applications for renewal. We've also got applications for first-time applicants. We've registered a number of people. We've had some cards printed. But I would admit from the onset that we've had a challenge in issuance, but which challenge won't be forever. We shall address that one pretty soon. So overall, I would want to say constraints, yes, most of them resolved, some outstanding and resolved as they come, but overall, we've covered good ground, and we hope to conclude the exercise as planned.
Now, one of the key standing challenges and issues from the public has been the failure to scan the QR code. And we've listened to a bit of explanations from some of your officers in the field, from the north to the west and also from the central here. From where you sit strategically, does this have a timeline as to when we can say that all these cards will be functioning?
Yes, we've received the feedback about the malfunction of the QR code. But I would like to say that it's a temporary situation, and I would like to regret the inconveniences caused to all the new card bearers, especially of the new ID. This has been brought about by the pending commissioning of the access and use module for ID authentication and the partner management aspect of it, so that we are integrating the NIRA system to the MDA platforms. It's in the offing, in the final stages of implementation, and we hope by end of March to have fully completed that module, which will allow ease of verification of IDs, and of course, by implication, to ease service delivery, which is the end state we all seek out of these IDs.
Another challenge that maybe you would talk about, which has been out there in the public, is the long queues. Is there a plan of maybe increasing your staff or more outlets for them to be able to pick those IDs that have not yet been picked?
We've made arrangements, especially for, in the interim, for especially card issuance, which is We have many within the region of about 4-point-something million of uncollected cards. We put in place an interim arrangement to verify, because people come back to us when the QR codes don't work, and we give them letters of confirmation of information issued by NIRA. And we are in touch with the MDAs about this, and we ask them to designate officers as contact persons, because we fear abuse of these letters, so that when the letter is issued, the details are shared with the contact person of the MDA concerned. But that said, that shouldn't be a permanent solution to this. That's why we say by end of March, we shall be home and dry to ensure that you take your ID, the code is working, and you get whatever service you seek from the MDA.
As the issue of the QR code is being resolved, can I, as a Ugandan, use my old identity card if the new one is not yet working?
Unfortunately, you can't. That's why reliance is had on the letters of confirmation of information issued by NIRA in the interim.
Okay. We had the ministry and, of course, NIRA coming out to say that there's a huge number of cards that has not been collected. What is the way forward to push Ugandans, just like you push them to go out there and register and get these IDs, to come and collect these cards?
IDs are very important for a range of services, and it's incumbent upon Ugandans, the card recipients, to also be vigilant and play their part. We've done our bit. We have used the communication channels, TV and radio, to inform the public on the collection points of these cards, but also we've gone ahead to use the telecoms. We send alerts, SMS alerts, informing the public on where they can pick their cards. I think what we need to improve also is to match, because now they issue numbers, but we need to match those numbers with actual locations to make it easier for the public to know where to collect their cards.
One of the issues, challenges again from the public, has been the corruption allegations of some of the NIRA officials. As a ministry, how are you handling this?
Cards are free of charge, and I think the public should know. But I think it takes two to tango. We call upon the public to be vigilant. Where there is any rogue officer asking for a bribe, you need to raise the red flag so that action is taken and taken promptly. Do your bit for us to do ours also, to ensure accountability, to ensure that people get their cards and that they get them free of charge.
Okay, as the in-charge minister, what would be your final message regarding the whole process of the national identification cards?
The national identification mass renewal and enrollment exercise has been smooth this far, in spite of a few challenges, which are surmountable. But also, I think this feedback you give us is important for us to audit ourselves and even improve the way we do things at NIRA, to ensure that we deliver these cards in the time they are supposed to be delivered. Because the tail end of the exercise is that one should have his card issued, and so that everything possible is done to ensure that that is done and it's done on time.
Okay, thank you very much. Back to you, Samson Kasumba. You've heard it from the State Minister for Internal Affairs, and I think that is the feedback from government regarding the national identification cards.
Well, Shira, at the end, one has to choose either to be optimistic or pessimistic, to be positive or negative. You know where I lie. I'm always very positive. Thank you a bunch. Now, the Uganda People's Congress has threatened not to renew that memorandum of understanding with the National Resistance Movement if circumstances similar to those witnessed ahead of the 2026 general elections do persist. Party President Jimmy Akena says UPC was unfairly aged out of the presidential race, a situation he blames on what he calls the NRM's invisible hand. He now wants a review of the cooperation before any decision is made about renewing it.
In the build-up to 2026 general elections, UPC party president Jimmy Akena had set his sight on the presidency, hoping the cooperation agreement between his party and the ruling NRM would work to his advantage. That hope, however, quickly faded. Akena failed to pass the nomination process, with the Electoral Commission citing internal leadership dispute within UPC. Claims Akena disputes instead, accusing the ruling party of interference.
As for me, Akena, I am not leaving Museveni. I am bumper to bumper with Museveni up to the end.
In the post-election period, Akena says the party has been forced to reflect on what it went through, arguing that the treatment UPC received did not reflect a genuine partnership under the MOU.
I said even before election, there was a serious injury. I felt and I still feel UPC needed to be on the presidential. Upheld, then I think we'll have to rethink as a country what exactly we hope for and what we are aiming for in this dispensation.
The UPC leadership says outcomes from the review will determine whether the party renews or abandons the cooperation agreement with the ruling NRM.
Every dispensation there has to be a discussion. If you're to move forward, you have to discuss. At this moment, with the ingredients which are in place, I will be very interested to hear how the discussion will go. But I think with every dispensation, there must be a discussion. That's why you go for realignment, and that's why we keep going for elections.
You bet I'm bumper to bumper with your comments after the question we asked. So to that special moment we go. How best can the government improve the issuance of national IDs? I know many of you want to be talking. Let's sample some of your views. By recruiting more qualified people and establishing more collecting centers in all regions across the country to enable citizens to pick at their convenient time. Again, employing more people. Do you have that many? Intended recipients should be sent notification messages on when and where to pick IDs. NIRA Uganda should improve its communication skills on this matter. In addition, some people are reluctant to pick the cards since they claim they are not yet functional. See there? See there? See there? Who else is there? The system, they got our contacts. In the system, they got our contacts. Let them call and we find us at our, you like life easy. That's why you even write N instead of and. You just like it easy. Well, Dr. Diana Twina, today we have launched the nationwide screening for sickle cell disease in newborns. We are going and make sure that we have these test kits readily available in the facilities to scale up newborn testing. We are also adding the medicine to the essential medicines list in our facilities. And now, with the excitement of Valentine's Day, we encourage couples to also take time to know their sickle cell status before planning for childbirth. If you both find that you are carriers, reconsider the relationship, or at least having children. Yes, those love feelings can be very strong. You may feel like you can't breathe if the relationship has to end, but the risk of producing a child with sickle cell disease is too great and costly. The repercussions will outweigh that love one day. And that's Dr. Diana Twina, the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Health.
More to come.
When we come back from the break, another scores 84% average in northern Uganda. What's the opposition going to do about this? That's the story we're coming back to when we come back from the break. But here it is. Valentine's Day is around the corner. So the minister says, as you consider, yeah, those things. Yeah, those ones. Yeah.
for convenience, from smooth sliding drawers to integrated dustbin accessories that keep your space spotless. Our flash doors bring nature's warmth into your home. Handcrafted to perfection, with a finish that speaks of heritage and strength. Our TV stands and lobby lounge partitions bring beauty into every home. Hwansung makes a difference.
Stop! Time for inspection. What do we have here? It looks like you didn't hear about Movit Back to School promotion. Students, tell him!
Buy and win in the new term near you. Back to school promotion. Buy any of our focus products. Movit All Day Toothpaste, Movit Herbal Jelly, Movit Baby Jelly, and Movit Shower Gel worth 5,000 Uganda shillings and you win a pen. Buy products worth 25,000 shillings to 44,000 Uganda shillings and you win a mathematical set or lunchbox. And when you buy products worth 45,000 Uganda shillings and above, you win a school bag and many more prizes. Terms and conditions apply. Movit All Day Confidence.
Today is a good day to draw up a new play. So start something. Make your move and get in your groove. Do it for the gram. Do it for the culture. Be loud. Be extra. Be a thinker. A life eater. A Tusker light drinker. Start something. Turn on your lights. Tusker lights.
I want to be an engineer. I want to be a chef. I want to be a mechanic. I want to be a musician. I want to be a basketballer.
Prinbrook International School is a school where you will see people from around the world. It's diverse. You will have the opportunity to experience things you've never experienced before. We have highly skilled teachers and a comfortable environment that does not pressure but eases the minds of students.
You got Glovo. You got Glovo. You can order what you want. You can get what you need. You got Glovo. You got it all. Order a Glovo and receive it in minutes.
All right, listen up. Colgate is on a mission.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate Science for healthy gums and strong teeth.
New Colgate Herbal with Salt combines traditional nature's herbs with a pinch of salt and Colgate Science. A natural recipe for strong teeth and healthy gums.
New Tusker Premium Cider. Crisp, delicious apples crushed and blended to create a unique taste explosion.
Welcome back. You're still watching NBS Live at 9. Now, after northern Uganda voted for NRM at an average of 84% in Acholi, Lango and West Nile, we examine the fate of the opposition parties and support in the region, with some of the opposition figures saying the results were an effect of Todwong in the campaigns and quoting opposition faces. The question is, can the NRM sustain its new support in the region?
For the first time in general elections, the North has given President Yoweri Museveni and NRM an average of 84% across Acholi, Lamu and West Nile. The question is, what does this newfound love mean for the opposition?
Being in opposition shouldn't be a permanent thing. If Northern Region at one point protested against government, they didn't support them. That means there were issues which were not answered. The questions were not answered by them. So if these questions have been answered, then Northern Uganda has to be in position to support government.
Look at the techniques applied by the Secretary General Richard Todwong. For example, talking very nicely to the opposition, trying to convince people to rally behind the government. I think he also contributed a lot.
For those who may recall, we started building our support in the area from at times 12%, 16%, 20%.
Political pundits and opposition figures say people are tired of being in opposition, and to some, it has been harder to convince the common man.
And right now they are looking at the only option that will make them get the development that they want is by joining the government.
That time, people were found in the IDP camps, and you don't need to, you just go there, people, then you can misinform, you give any information and people take it very seriously.
There is no formidable opposition figure in Acholi that commands the authority to stand up, speak boldly as an opposition politician. None. You find he is pretending here, one leg is here, another leg is in government.
With demands for better service delivery and fulfill all pledges, one question that remains, will the NRM sustain its newfound love, and what remains of opposition?
We now need to get away from the political mood, the campaign moods, and now sit down to channel a clear move and agenda for the sub-region.
And now that we have reached this level of solid relationship, I'm sure definitely there are things that they ask for that government should be able to respond to.
Across the Greater North, NRM got 86% of members of parliament and swept 93 of locally voted leaders. One question that remains, will the opposition ever gain its old glory in the region?
Now, the Electoral Commission is on spot for gazetting the first run-up as the winner of the Bukomansimbi Woman Member of Parliament. According to what is published in the Gazette, NUP's Veronica Nanyondo, who polled 23,275, was gazetted as the winner, leaving behind NRM's Ruth Katshabe with 23,481, who was declared by the returning officer, sparking a controversy.
In the Uganda Gazette, dated 6th February 2026, the Electoral Commission published the officially declared results and contestants of the District Woman Parliamentary seat, in which it declared NUP's Veronica Nanyondo contrary to electoral outcomes from Bukomansimbi District. In the Gazette, Nanyondo is indicated as the winner, and yet on the polling day, Ruth Katshabe was declared by the returning officer, leaving behind a source of controversy.
Katshabe Ruth, 23,625.
Lawyers have warned that this controversy can spark a legal battle that the Electoral Commission is likely to face if it does not swiftly rectify the error.
In instances where people go to Parliament and challenge lawfully elected leaders, directions are issued, for example, to the Electoral Commission to gazette the then newly declared winner of those elections.
The Electoral Commission will publish what we call the Corrigendum Gazette Notice. Corrigendum Gazette Notice is a special gazette notice which is issued to correct the errors, to replace wrong information, and has the same legal effect or legal force like the original gazette.
According to the available options, the aggrieved parties can choose to explore administrative or judicial procedures to have their menaces rectified.
Whatever is supplied to the Uganda Gazette to be published as official can equally be withdrawn, or an alternative result, after consideration of many factors which might even be administrative and legal, can always be supplied and thereby gazetted.
In case Electoral Commission, after that letter written to them, they do not respond positively, then the client or the winner has the right to appeal to High Court.
However, the Electoral Commission cannot independently change what is in the Gazette without receiving declarations from their respective returning officers.
A Gazette is not a conclusive document in as far as declaration of results is concerned. It is only conclusive in as far as communication of the position as given by the Electoral Commission is.
Efforts to get a comment from Electoral Commission remained futile as the spokesperson could not answer our repeated calls by press time.
Now, Makuta South Member of Parliament Yusuf Nsabambi has confirmed that the meeting he recently held with President Yoweri Museveni has started yielding results. Nsabambi says that during the meeting, which brought together religious leaders and representatives from other political parties, they requested President Yoweri Museveni to grant amnesty to political prisoners. He says the president accepted, and some of the prisoners are expected to be released within 2 weeks. Nsabambi also accused members from other parties such as NUP and DF of attending the meeting despite publicly distancing themselves from the photographs taken there.
While speaking on Sanyuka TV, Maokota South MP Yusuf Nsabambi reaffirmed that the meeting he recently had with President Museveni has begun to bear fruit following the submission of a list of prisoners said to have been arrested on political grounds. Nsabambi says that this was one of the key issues they presented to the president in a meeting that has sparked a nationwide discussion.
As we talk right now, I have 10 people, actually 9, who are going to be released within 2 weeks or a week.
According to Nsabambi, the meeting, which was organized by religious leaders under the Interreligious Council, was also attended by politicians from other parties, including DF and NUP. Although some of them later avoided appearing in photographs.
There were 17. Others did not come to be seen in the camera, and others want to come on board. So that formation were about close to 100.
Nsabambi says he believes that through talks with the NRM, they can bring about the change the opposition has long been yearning for.
So talking to talking to someone on the other side of the aisle is heresy. Confrontation politics has failed.
Although FDC party president Patrick Amuria Toboy came out to deny sending him, Nsabambi presented documents showing that FDC Secretary General Nandala Mafabi authorized him to attend and was aware of everything that took place, responding to public criticism that he's being inconsistent and siding with President Museveni. Nsabambi says this does not bother him because this was not the first time he has met the president.
If you are in a Kamori, and then you are saying the other one is a sellout, what have you done for this country, you as an individual, to your neighbor? I cannot be a sellout.
He dismissed claims that he was seeking financial gain after losing the 2026 election.
Now, Uganda's debate on political dialogue is heating up, with opposition leaders divided on whether to meet President Yoweri Museveni to discuss development. Some opposition factions view such meetings as betrayal, seeing it as giving in to the ruling government. Some argue that it's a necessary step towards finding common ground for the development of the country. But looking at regional examples, Kenya, South Africa and the US show opposition leaders meeting their presidents that it is indeed normal and consequently it does yield results.
Across Africa, dialogue has often stepped in where confrontation reached its limits, producing outcomes that reshape politics, institutions and national stability. In South Africa, structured dialogue between liberation movements, political elites and civil society normally lay the foundation for a peaceful transition from apartheid, proving that even deeply polarized societies can reimagine their future through engagement. Further north, Tunisia's National Dialogue Quartet, bringing together political parties, unions and civil society, helped steer the country away from collapse during a severe political crisis, a process later internationally recognized for preserving stability through consensus. In Uganda, dialogue has previously delivered measurable outcomes, even when it was controversial at the time. Following the disputed 2001 and 2006 general elections, sustained engagement between political actors, civil society and the state fed into electoral and constitutional reforms, including changes to electoral laws, expanded judicial oversight of elections, and increased space for multi-party participation under the 2005 constitutional referendum. In neighboring Kenya, dialogue has produced even more visible results. The 2008 National Accord, brokered after post-election violence, led to the formation of a coalition government, constitutional review, and far-reaching institutional reforms, including the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, which redefined devolution, checks and balances, and electoral governance.
To those people in Kenya, I would say this: compromise was necessary for the survival of this country.
Nearly a decade later, the 2018 handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga calmed political tensions after a disputed election, opening the door to the Building Bridges initiative, which, despite legal challenges, broadened national conversation on governance, inclusivity and electoral reform. These processes were not without criticism. Participants were accused of elite bargains, political survivalism, and sidelining voters' concerns that echo loudly in Uganda today. Yet analysts argue that tangible outcomes are difficult to miss. Reduced violence, institutional reforms, constitutional change, and renewed political engagement in Uganda's society and citizens, and transparent to the public. As Uganda navigates political polarization, the lesson from both Kampala and Nairobi is clear. Dialogue does not erase disagreement, but it can convert tension into reform.
Now, as the debate about opposition leaders meeting President Yoweri Museveni continues, some of those allegedly accused of honoring the meet deny being part of the meeting. One of them, we have him now live on Zoom with us. That is Robert Centenary, who now joins us this evening. Honorable Centenary, many thanks for joining us this evening. There's hundreds of politicians in Uganda, and of course, one is wondering, how did your name get into the list on, who is supposed to meet the president, and what don't understand in terms of, what is important and what is not. But also tell us, how did the meeting go? Robert.
I don't know how I can explain how a meeting that I never attended went. In fact, the first person to tell me about that meeting was a journalist from CBS who called me to find out whether FDC as a party had sent Honorable Nsibambi and the delegation that he led to that meeting. And categorically, I told him I was not aware because I have been in Kasese since November. I just returned to Kampala yesterday. And therefore, I can state that, one, I did not know about that meeting, its agenda, and who the participants were, apart from those that I saw on the photograph. And I will implore whoever put my name on the list to bring evidence. But also, in the current technology, you can tell somebody's location, even without necessarily, if you really are interested. I'm not saying that it is bad to meet a president if a meeting is structured. For instance, we were in Kololo for iPod as a party. We went when we agreed that we should go for the iPod meeting. I believe in dialogue, but dialogue must be structured. And yes, I know there could have been people who went for that meeting, but I was never part of it. I was actually grazing my goats in Kasese at the time of the purported meeting.
The goats in Kasese can give a proper account of where you were at that time. What will happen if a picture comes out and shows that you were actually indeed in attendance of that meeting with the president? Is it criminal to be in a meeting with the president?
I will actually give you 10 million cash, even if it means borrowing that money. I'll pay. Bring the picture.
Okay. We're not in a baiting debate, but some people seem to be making it criminal for opposition politicians like yourself to meet the president. But in neighboring Kenya, the opposition does engage. Why is it difficult in Uganda, in your own opinion? Why is it difficult in Uganda that the opposition figures cannot meet the president? When you do meet and a picture comes out, they call you a sellout.
Actually, I want to tell you what I'm going through now. I have had numerous calls, people asking me for money. You know, you met the president, give us some of the money. I am here struggling financially, and you know, that news is causing me a lot of trouble. I wish I had gone and received the money, but I don't think there is even money anyway. Secondly, there has been a lot of suspicion, and I would, I would exonerate the opposition colleagues because it's the only way of safeguarding our members from going for those secret meetings with the president. If we really want to engage, then we should engage in a structured way. After all, we now have a platform called iPod. I want to believe whoever goes to meet the president personally, probably they have their own personal agenda. But if it has to be the institution, then let the institution participate. Like I've said, we have a we have the iPod, we have the National Consultative Forum. If we have issues to discuss about this nation, we can even extend that forum and have a proper locus for us to have a meaningful engagement. It's not bad to engage with the powers that be, because they are the ones who have the authority to decide what happens to this country. They have the guns, they have the money, and they have the power. And if we want to push our agenda, then we can engage with them. As leaders, we serve the nation in two ways. One, those who are in government will serve, and those of us who are outside government will advise government. So there is no way we can dismiss each other's role in building our nation, because the country belongs to all of us.
All right, Honorable Centenary, just 30 seconds. If a call came through right now and it is from the switchboard of the State House, would you, one, first accept to attend a meeting with President Yoweri Museveni, or would you let the party president know about it before you even confirm attending the meeting? Just 30 seconds.
Well, it will depend on whether it is a personal invitation or an institutional invitation. If they're inviting the party, it has a structured leadership. The administrator of the party is usually the Secretary General, and the chief executive of the party is the president. But also our office as the chairman, it is our duty, we are duty bound to, first of all, engage, mobilize on behalf of the party. So it will depend on the type of invitation. If President Museveni is inviting me as an eminent leader in this country who has made a valuable contribution to consult me on matters of the nation, that is person to holder. If the invitation is for the party, then I need to consult with the party. So that invitation and personal invitation.
Robert Sente, many thanks for speaking to us tonight. He is the vice chairperson of the FDC representing the Western region. And now NBS Live at 9 is going to take a break. When we return, we have more stories making headlines tonight.
In today's world, opportunity is digital. Is your education keeping pace? At Cavendish University, Uganda, we don't just use technology, we're built around it. Our state-of-the-art digital portal and our world-class public health laboratories are your launchpad. Because here, we focus on one outcome, your success. We equip you with in-demand digital skills, critical thinking, and real-world experience. We don't just award degrees, we prepare you for gainful employment and entrepreneurship globally. Enroll with Cavendish University Uganda this semester. Registration is ongoing. Cavendish University Uganda. Your success begins here.
Maria, I'm going to make the mandazi you like today. This is my wife Maria's recipe.
Maria! Maria, we've got the loan! We've got the loan!
But tell me, what's the secret to your success?
Maria is my inspiration. Everything that I do is to make Maria proud.
Best friend you have for MTN yo ya dollar. Gambati best friend you MTN yo ya dollar nyo.
Tutandikidde Kampala naye tugenda mu ggwanga lyonna nga tugaba school fees wa mwaka mulamba.
Twebaza Omukama okuba nti nno atuwadde omukisa guno ate ne MTN okuba nti esasulidde omwana fees ez'omwaka omulamba ebe tutikudde omugugu era kuba sente ezo ziba nyingi nnyo.
Sasula school fees ng'okozesa momo onyiga *665*80# ng'osasula school fees w'omwana wo essomero nga liwangula school van naawe bw'oba kwegamba nga embeera ekukuttemu ng'ofuna school fees loan weewaawo.
Buy genuine Decra roofing tiles, the original stone-coated alu zinc steel roofing system from New Zealand. Choose from Heritage, Milano, Shingle, Shake and Classic profiles with a variety of colors and a 50-year warranty. Only available at Depot Uganda. Telephone 0776 898 888 or 0758 853 285. Depot Uganda. Tried, tested and trusted.
This Valentine's Day, love knows no limit. Boundless love and Ensonga z'omukwano at Lake Victoria Serena Golf Resort and Spa. Feel the magic as legends Maddox Sematimba and Jamal Waswa serenade the night. Plus, step back in time with Rasta Rob MC and the Twins. Crown the night in our luxurious rooms from $165 single or $185 double. Tickets go for 1 million shillings for a platinum couple and 2.8 million for a group of 6 and includes a sumptuous steak dinner with house wine. Tickets available now at cricket.co.ug. Brought to you by Lake Victoria Serena Golf Resort and Spa in partnership with Capital FM and Mosaic Marketing Collective.
Today, we choose our future. We choose peace. Let's protect our home from violence. Differing choices are part of democracy. Every voice matters. Every vote is for our shared country. Trust in the process and the electoral bodies. Let's vote with our hearts and minds, without provocation and intimidation. This is home. Let's keep it safe. Let's talk peace.
It's back, bigger, and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
Welcome back. You're still watching NBS Live at 9. Now moving on to more of our stories fresh from a commanding election victory. Tororo District Chairperson John Okia returns to office with a renewed mandate. While he credits peace and unity following the district's division for his victory, a growing list of service delivery challenges await him in the second term. From tackling corruption that has hindered the district's development over the years to extending electricity to more than 70 parishes still off the national grid. These, among others, is what awaits him.
Voters in Tororo District have returned incumbent District Chairperson John Okea for another term following the just recently concluded District Chairperson elections. Okea secured a landslide victory, polling 139,805 votes, defeating 3 challengers in a 4-candidate race. His closest rival, independent candidate John Obo, only garnered 31,826 votes. Despite the overwhelming support, the chairperson begins his second term facing major challenges, particularly poor road connectivity. Several roads remain impassable due to broken bridges, even after the district received 1 billion shillings for road maintenance.
I'm now superintending over 3 districts and a city, and that makes it 4. You are talking of Mulanda District, Mukujo District, and the Nagongara District plus the city. How does the 1 billion cater for all those? So once the district is not yet split, the 1 billion will be nothing in Tororo here.
Corruption remains another concern. Okea has previously been accused of colluding with technocrats to misuse public funds. While acknowledging the problem, he says that the administration is taking action.
Corruption is not only in Tororo. Corruption is all over Uganda, in ministries, in other districts. But here in Tororo, we have tried a lot to fight corruption, and that's why you will hear of interdictions here. People who are corrupt, we interdict them, and we make a case on them.
You come to service commission, like the district service commission, people have infiltrated that department because there are people who are incompetent, but because they have the money, they get the jobs.
Unemployment has also persisted despite the presence of several factories in the district. Okea says that the district has resolved that 40% of the factory workers should be locals, though implementation has been slow.
But to achieve that is still a difficult thing. I've tried to engage them, but we are not yet doing well in that area. Most of the people who work in these factories are from far.
Meanwhile, access to electricity remains limited, with nearly 70 out of the 172 parishes still off the national grid. Okea remains hopeful that the planned district division will attract more resources and improve service delivery.
The Ministry of Health reveals that approximately 20,000 babies are born with sickle cell disease every year, and sadly, around 9,000 of them die, mostly before the age of 5. The Ministry of Health has, in response to the growing burden, launched a nationwide mandatory newborn screening program for sickle cell disease to ensure timely diagnosis and treatment for affected children. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Twine, says the initiative will fast-track access to early medical care, reducing child mortality and improving quality of life for those living with the condition.
This is Hope Fortunate Achiro. A 40-year-old says she will never forget the year 2024 and 2025 when she lost her two daughters to sickle cell disease. Achiro recounts the pain she went through after doctors informed her that both children had tested positive for sickle cell disease.
And she used to have this look, trying to communicate to me why I can't stop the pain. Her older sister, just before she lost unconsciousness, told me she was tired and wanted to go. And I spoke to her. I realized when she meant she wanted to go home, she meant heaven.
She adds that she was spending up to 10 million shillings every month on treatment for the two children. Achiro says she even sought specialized treatment at a hospital in India where she spent about 1 billion shillings, but sadly nothing could save them.
Because they had, the disease had escalated and both girls used to have severe illness.
Achiro was speaking at the Ministry of Health during the launch of the newborn sickle cell screening program. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Twine, says the program is aimed at reducing the number of children who die from sickle cell disease every year, especially below 5 years.
Between 6,000 and 9,000 babies die before they get to 5 years. And so if we are targeting reducing under 5, we must target sickle cell disease.
Dr. Twine stressed that despite this milestone, the country is still grappling with medical supply in most parts of the country, thus advising prevention. She warns that once sickle cell manifests in children, chances of recovery are extremely low.
Early vaccination, we give them penicillin as prophylaxis. We give them disease-modifying therapy, like hydroxyurea. We counsel the mothers so that they look out for any possible complication.
According to the Ministry of Health, about 20,000 children are born with sickle cell disease every year, and out of these, 9,000 die before reaching the age of 5. In Uganda, symptoms of sickle cell disease in children typically start showing up between 3 to 6 months after birth. This is because babies are born with fetal hemoglobin, which protects them from the disease's effects. That decreases, and as it does, the symptoms begin to manifest.
Now, looking still to our kids and back to school, Uganda Police has advised teachers and parents to provide extra security for learners during this back-to-school period, saying that schools should ensure that environments learners return to are free from anything that could endanger their lives.
Police says some parents have a habit of sending children to school early in the morning without being escorted by an adult. In such cases, children often use unsafe routes as shortcuts, which police warns that puts their lives in danger, especially girls. The police spokesperson Chituma Rusoke says that it is the responsibility of every parent to ensure that their child is not exposed to any danger while going or returning from school.
And safety of learners remains a top priority. We encourage parents to escort young children, especially lower primary children, and also the girl child, to and from school where possible. We say this because we've registered the cases of defilements There are very specific operational postures around his premises in the interest of national security.
Police further stated that they are yet to compile a comprehensive report on all the events that occurred during the 2026 general elections.
Now, let's have a look one more time at our top stories this evening. Ugandans have struggled to collect national IDs amidst the chaos. Meanwhile, there has been long queues at NERA offices as the mass issuances on the national IDs closed. And finally, UPC threatens to cut ties with NRM over election concerns. Those are top stories this evening. After the break, we come back with some business.
This PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
The parish development model is designed to eradicate poverty by providing the support necessary for financial independence.
We have seen how 1 million, how much 1 million can do. The whole of Uganda is very rich. So what you call poverty is actually ignorance. We need everybody to come up.
Let us all take advantage of the conducive prevailing atmosphere of political stability, peace and security to ensure that all our people come out of poverty.
And I've told the banks to stop deducting from the 1 million. You must get the 1 million full. The government is the one which will pay the bank charges.
Now the number of stools in this Matoke enterprise are 1,000. They are on 1 acre. And we harvest 17 bunches every day. The money that we get from this Matoke, after selling each bunch at 15,000 shillings, for the whole year, we get 91.9 million shillings. So I want to encourage all the people of Teso also to change the mindset and adopt to new crops which were not traditionally grown here.
We emphasize 2 words, wealth and jobs. This PDM is to get all of you out of poverty.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Hey travelers, are you a family gearing up for that big vacation, a hustler working abroad coming home, or your squad chasing sunsets and passport stamps? It's time you lock in. Say goodbye to long airport queues, shocking roaming bills, and the stress of hunting for local SIM cards, because now you can travel like a local. Stay connected in over 180 countries. Just scan, tap, and boom. Instant data the moment you reach your destination. Get your Rogue Travel eSIM today at travel.roguetelecom.co.ug. Contact us on 020-5000123.
Looking for a vacation of a lifetime? Cross the equator and discover Pineapple Bay Resort. Enjoy exceptional life's luxuries. Spend quality time with family, friends, or even that special someone. Get in touch with nature with our range of outdoor activities. The calming tranquility of water, breathtaking views, moving memories around campfires. It's all here. Plus, a club experience like no other at Pineapple Bay Clubhouse. It's a whole vibe. You can hire any of our 3 VIP cruise boats for groups of 10, 14, or 25 people. Or you can cruise out with swag on a luxury yacht for 12 people. Our premium boats are all safety compliant. Make your next vacay an all-round experience at Pineapple Bay, located on Bolago Island, right in the midst of Lake Victoria. Talk to us today.
And now for Business Pulse this evening, the Bank of Uganda has decided to keep its key lending rate unchanged, signaling confidence that the economy is on a stable path despite global uncertainty. The Monetary Policy Committee left the central bank rate at 9.75%. The central bank says the current policy position is appropriate to support economic growth while keeping inflation under control over the medium term.
According to the central bank, economic activity remains strong. Growth averaged at above 6% during the biggest part of 2025, largely driven by consumer spending, which expanded by 14.7%, mainly reflecting strong government consumption growth of 22.8% compared to the growth of 14.2% in household consumption. The bank says that the economy is expected to grow faster in the current financial year.
Inflation, like we've said, is likely to remain stable as well, unless, of course, the exogenous factors. So we think that economic activity has not been affected to a large extent.
Over the medium term, economic growth is projected to improve further to 8%, supported by public investment, infrastructure development, and all related investment, plus increased private sector activity.
We have improved in terms of our ranking in the ABSA African Financial Market Index. We are now the third best performing market after South Africa and Mauritius.
Experts at the bank have cautioned that global geopolitical tensions and trade disruptions could weigh on this growth.
You look at what's happened in the US, for example, in terms of the Fed and what have you. I mean, you don't know what direction, the rates are going to take. There are all these geopolitical factors.
Given the uncertain global and domestic environment, the Bank of Uganda says that a cautious approach remains necessary by keeping the policy rate unchanged.
Everything, the way we see it from the central bank perspective, is consistent with the broader macroeconomic objectives.
Last month, Finance Trust Bank downgraded its license to a Tier 2, raising concerns on the health of the financial sector. However, the central bank says that the decision by Finance Trust Bank was largely strategic.
The change of status by Trust Bank is really business model driven, given the available capital that they have.
Experts at the central bank say that the macroeconomic indicators remain sound, guaranteeing stronger economic growth.
Now, the Uganda National Mining Company has heightened priority areas in its strategic plan. According to Chief Executive Officer of the Uganda National Mining Company, Dr. Gerald Banaga Bayingi, a state-owned enterprise will focus on investment and development of the extractives sector in the copper-rich Kilembe mines, gold-rich Wagagai and tin-rich Chisoro to foster growth of the extractives sector.
Established on 25th April 2024 under the Mining and Minerals Act Cap 159, the Uganda National Mining Company aims to maximize the value of Uganda's mineral resources for the benefit of all Ugandans. Monday afternoon, the company tasked with making strategic investments in the mining and minerals industry top executives shared the company's roadmap.
We had the governance is now fully complete and operational. We have a full board of directors that oversee and give strategic guidance to this company.
The extractive sector, which includes oil and gas, is currently undergoing an intensive development phase, with the Albertine Graben receiving more than $1 billion United States dollars in investment. The Uganda National Mining Company says that the areas that are rich in gold, copper, diamonds, tin and other precious minerals will be prioritized for investment.
And therefore, we'll be looking at strong community engagement, community agreements. We'll be signing agreements with the various communities to ensure that they do not only ensure that these projects are undertaken in a sustainable manner, but the communities also benefit.
Uganda hosts more than 50 mineral types according to the country's latest geological data from the Energy Ministry. These include 31 million tons of gold, 560 million tons of iron ore, and 7.8 million tons of copper, among others. Added together, ignoring costs, losses, taxes, and non-recoverable portions, the total paper value of these minerals is estimated at least $4 to $5 trillion.
The harnessing, the exploitation of these minerals will actually distribute this growth from the primary to the secondary mechanism, and the UNMC, or National Mining Company, sits at the center, that we are able to support the manufacturing and value addition, that is by supplying our core minerals.
The Minister of Finance's tenfold growth strategy highlights the mineral sector as a key source of the anticipated $500 billion by the year 2040, and players in the sector are racing against time to set up the required infrastructure to support the growth.
Well, it's time that we look at how the Uganda shilling is faring against major currencies. The dollar was buying at the end of the day at 3,541.36, selling there at 3,551.36, while the British pound was buying at 4,835.47 and selling at 4,850.15. Let's go straight to the regional currencies, such as the Kenyan shilling, which was buying at 27.43 and selling there at 27.55, while the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.36 and selling at 1.40. That's our currency for this evening. How about we have a look at some commodities? Now, today we have a look there at our monthly food crop inflation, starting off with our sweet potato or sweet potato, if you would like, December and January. If we look at the prices there in December 2025, 1.6% down, actually, and which means that the prices of sweet potato, rather, was much cheaper in December, and in January continued further going down there, negative 3.8% in January of 2026. Those are the price comparisons. Now looking at matoke in December of 2025, 0.7%. Seems like you've been buying your matoke slightly cheaper. And in January 2026, 6.4% over there. Those are our commodities for this evening. And now for sport, a section of Uganda football fans has backed the Federation of Uganda Football Association, President Moses Magogo's proposal, advocating for state institutions to financially support community football clubs rather than owning clubs.
At the end of last month, FUFA President Moses Magogo tried to present a document before the Parliamentary Education Committee, which turned out to be a sports request separate from the sports budget that the National Council of Sports had presented. Away from the $297 billion four-year concealed budget request, the document proposed that all state-owned enterprises with effect from 2026-2027 stop owning and running football clubs, but instead avail, without reduction, the funds for sports to finance one chosen community club of their choice. The document further proposes that those that are not already owning or running clubs each provides resources of not less than 500 million Uganda shillings to finance at least one community club that is not already being financed by state enterprises.
Since they already have resources, can those resources be channeled into community clubs that have the funds? So instead of looking for the funds and taking them to such clubs, why don't we take such clubs where the funds are, so that they benefit in the objective of communicating with the masses, but they also benefit football and the sport that resources are available to develop and motivate and pay players.
The Uganda Premier League has 7 clubs owned by state enterprises, including KCCA, Police, UPDF, UPPC, Maroons, URA, and NEC Football Club. A section of the local football fans under the Platinum Football Fans Association has backed FUFA's proposal, saying that the move will strengthen grassroots football and promote sustainable growth.
At least let them have shares like 55%, and then the club has 45%. I mean, the community.
Maybe to have a policy that encourages corporate bodies to take up sponsorship of clubs.
Fans have reaffirmed their commitment to support Ugandan football whilst appreciating the competitiveness of the current Uganda Premier League season. They asked FUFA to reschedule the match between Chitara Football Club and Vipers Football Club to ensure fairness in the title race.
There is stiff competition, and if that game is not fixed, it's going to create problems in the near future.
Meanwhile, Express FC fans' leadership has called quits to the match-day boycott that has gone on for months. In a statement, the leadership, after meeting the club's leadership to resolve their issues, encouraged fans to return to the stands as the 10th-placed Red Eagles host second-placed Entebbe UPPC at the Ham Stadium in Nachivuo. This is the first game of the scheduled doubleheader before 4th-placed record 17-time champion Sports Club Villa take on struggling 12th-placed URA Football Club at 8 p.m.
We want to begin the second round on a different note, which is now we are trying to prepare the team to be able to have a better show in the second round of the league.
Every game can be difficult on second round. Because of that, we have time to prepare and everything, and I hope so to next 5 months we will see that.
Sports Club Villa, Express Football Club, KCCA FC, Chitara Football Club and Vipers Sports Club are the leading local clubs with fans.
Now, in a bid to revive and promote the sport of boxing, Busoga Kingdom has organized a boxing championship set to take place in the Chabazinga Stadium in Bugembe on Saturday, March 7th, 2026. According to the Kingdom's sports minister, boxers will register and compete in their respective boxing clubs to no cost. Gilbert Mitala, the organizing committee chairperson, says that the competition will be in junior, youth and elite categories in both men and women.
Today we are here to inform you that we are going to revive boxing in Busoga Kingdom. You remember we had started it earlier, about 5 years ago, but due to unavoidable circumstances, we stopped it somewhere. But as we speak now, we are determined to make it start on 7th March this year. We are going to have the Busoga Boxing Championship in Chabazinga Stadium, Bugembe, right, starting from 8 a.m. up to late in the afternoon.
We actually call upon all the viewers to come and watch what boxing is all about. Because when you just hear that boxing, people think it is a rough game. It's not a rough game. It's a friendly game. It's just like football, the way you watch and how the footballers are playing. That's how boxing is.
Era nsubiranga abamu Central oba mu Central Region nge Kampala n'ebitundu ebindi bajja tufunamu ino obuzibu mu kuvuganya naddala mu national team.
Finally, over 21,000 young girls have been kept in school for the last 3 years, courtesy of proceeds from the annual APSA KH3 Seven Hills Run. The 4th edition has been launched today at the APSA Bank head offices in Nakasero, with a new kit design unveiled. The 2026 run is scheduled for 26th April, starting at the Lugogo Cricket Oval, with over 8,000 runners expected. NBS Sport are official broadcasters and media partners of the run that aims to break barriers that prevent girls across the country from accessing education.
Over the last couple of years, we have supported over 21,000 children, girl children, and helped them to stay in school. That's absolutely massive when I think about it. Why is this story important for us? And this story is very important because when you think about the things that keep the girl children from completing their studies, they're not impossible things. School fees, absence of sanitary materials, high transport costs, things that if we come together, we can overcome.
Together, this partnership allows us to turn a simple run into impact that keeps the girl child in school.
Us as Next Media, any event, any cause that involves the public is close to our heart, because as a media house, we inform to transform. We therefore believe that ABSA's initiative is not just noble, but it's very important to the girl child in the country at a time when I just saw statistics that we have more women than men in the country.
This year, we are going a step further, and we are committing 2 titled plots of land, one for a male and another for a male participant, plus a cash prize of 10 million.
Well, I guess that brings us to the end of this evening. But meanwhile, some more sport happening in the morning, of course. Sport this morning, we've got amputee footballer and an amputee from a team captain from the Cranes over there. That's happening tomorrow. Finding purpose through sport despite disability. Nathan's friendship with Declan Rice. That is the topic going on tomorrow morning. You should be sure to catch that, I guess, from us. Okay. Guess that's it then.